My name is Michael DeFazio, and I'm going to help you run, scale, and grow your custom furniture company so you can actually get ahead in life. Today, we're going to be talking about reclaimed wood and how to buy it. It is not like buying dimensional lumber. Don't treat it the same way. It is 10 times more of a pain in the butt and 10 times more awesome, in my opinion. I've always been a little bit rough around the edges, so I like to kind of put that in our work. Dimensional lumber doesn't have the characteristics that I've always liked to highlight in my work. So we like to stick to the reclaimed wood, and I'm going to show you guys how to buy it in this video. I get asked all the time from people that are following our shop, hey Mike, I got this cool board, or hey Mike, I got these cool couple pieces of wood. I never was able to take 1 or 2 pieces of wood into the shop. If I was buying reclaimed wood, I had to buy a stack of it. And I had to buy a stack of it because it was always my intention to build something like this wall here, where I actually have materials and examples to show you guys, to show my clients. I don't want something that I can just build a table with one time and then not be able to put it on the wall and sell it again. I was always trying to be one step ahead by building the table, having photos done of that table, so I can use that table in my portfolio. I can have a real life example of what the material looks like finished and stain samples for it, so I can sell that material over and over and over again. It just makes the sales process easier when you can stand behind a product that you worked with. Because working with reclaimed wood, every time you work with a new type of reclaimed wood, it's a different ballgame. One thing that I thought was the coolest part about selling reclaimed wood was the fact that I got to sell a story to my clients. It wasn't just, here's an ash table. It was, this tabletop right here was made out of the gym floor from Brennan High School's gym. Sell them the story of the reclaimed wood. I always thought that was such a cool thing to offer to my clients, because every piece is going to be an individual piece. Say I had only a bundle of this gym floor left, I would reach out to my clients that have bought something from the gym floor in the past and say, hey, Susan, I got some wood left over here from the gym floor. I got enough to make, a small coffee table or a small bunch of stools or something like that. Would you be interested in talking about it? And then you can reintroduce the sales conversation to see if your client wants the last little bit. When we buy reclaimed wood, we always buy enough of it to be able to sell it more than once. What do I mean by that? I mean that if Greg comes and buys a dining room table from us with this reclaimed wood, I gotta be able to buy a bundle of material, reclaimed woods, that are going to allow me to get 2 or 3 or 4 dining room tables, because one, I want to be able to make sure I'm picking the best of the best boards from the lot to build this epic piece, but I also want to be able to resell this material. Reclaimed wood is not just like buying wood and putting it into your workshop. I always suggest double checking that if you're buying it from a trusted source, make sure that it has been kiln dried. Buying it off a farmer or some construction guy that is tearing buildings apart and he has a lot of reclaimed lumber to give or to sell you, make sure it goes to the kiln. I cannot emphasize this enough. This is not necessarily for the dryness, although that is important. It's for the bugs. We try to avoid doing anything, even bringing the wood into our shop before it goes to the kiln. Going to the kiln is for the bugs, not necessarily the moisture content, because if there are bugs in that wood, you're in the middle of your project, that has to go back to the kiln. It's going to cost you a lot of money, and it's going to make you want to put your head through the drywall. Do not put wood that could have bugs in it into the shop. Avoid this as much as possible. I know it seems crazy to just add all these extra steps when working with reclaimed wood, but do not risk it. I've done it. It has costed me a fortune. I'm going to tell you a little story. Back in the day, I had to send a conference table that was fully built. It was wicked. It was one of the most aggressive conference tables we've ever built. The wood was so distressed. As we were putting the tabletop together, we had the C-channel in, we had everything ready to go. Right before the epoxy pour, we realized that there was little piles of dust underneath the conference table. And I knew what that was. That means there's bugs in the wood. We had to bring the entire conference table back to the kiln, put the entire table through the kiln. And by the time we took the table out of the kiln, we had to rebuild the entire tabletop because all the glue seams opened up. That table was shredded inside the kiln. It was not a good experience. So we had to cut the whole table apart, rebuild it, and then we cast the epoxy. It was an incredible table, but man, I lost my shirt on that one because I was trying to skip the kiln. Do not skip the kiln. With reclaimed wood, you have to understand that you're gonna have a lot more waste than you would if you had dimensional lumber. Dimensional lumber typically comes ready to rock and roll, but reclaimed wood, you're typically buying garbage. You're buying the wood that is no longer good, it's been used, you're buying something secondhand, which is awesome. And it was my personal favorite part about it because there was characteristics and holes and cracks and stuff stuff that I thought made the wood in our custom pieces stand out really well, you have to understand there's gonna be more waste. So I always added 50% waste when it came to pricing out my reclaimed wood projects. This did typically mean that the reclaimed wood projects were gonna be a little bit more expensive, but that's all good. You have to be able to sell them on the idea that this is gonna be a much more unique table. You can't recreate these imperfections. My company started by selling reclaimed wood custom pieces, right? Custom dining room tables. We sold a ton of it. It was my personal favorite material. Michael DeFazio Reclaim Artistry was always a company that was going to take pieces that were no longer usable and make them into custom furniture. So I never really considered us a wood shop, but we always specialized in wood, working with things like Brennan High School's gym floor or some Ford City floor joist. These are things that, normal wood shops won't typically be able to sell you. And working with these materials has been such a great way to develop incredible problem solving skills, because working with some of this reclaimed wood stuff, if you've done it in the past, you know that it's not just run through the planer and call it a day. Like there's things that you have to watch out for. There's typically nails in it. There's different sorts of knots. If the crack is too big, it might make the board flex, which might make the table unstable. And then the crack might appear later in the finished product of the tabletop. These are huge problems that we've had to work through when building custom furniture in the shop, and we have an incredible amount of skills that we can pass off to you guys. If you guys know anybody that's building with reclaimed wood that could use a little tip or two on how to buy reclaimed wood, send them this video. Guys, give me a comment if you have any questions. Please subscribe to the channel. This is going to be where I'm going to be teaching all of the knowledge that I built up over the last 13 years of building custom high-end furniture. I hope you enjoy. Have a great day.